episode today. Very excited to have you with us. And I have my co-hosts with me. I have Laura. Laura is not with us. I have Kim, who is in Hermosillo, and Carlos, who's in Mexico City. And I am in Phoenix today, Phoenix, Arizona. And we have our guest, Erin Kopp. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Erin Kopp from Visa HQ. And we're excited to talk with you today. Erin, would you please introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself. Thanks.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Erin Kopp. I'm with Visa HQ. Really excited to be here today. So I am the Global Strategic Partnership Manager at Visa HQ. So that means I work with our corporate clients as well as industry partners to help streamline the passport and visa industry and bring it into the modern era, which we'll talk more about today. And I work at Visa HQ. We are a global passport and visa processing company, really known in the industry for innovation and our reputation for excellence in customer service.
Great. Thanks for introducing yourself, Erin.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to learning more about how you guys work globally and the various different cultures and personalities that you deal with. So we're certainly here to learn about that. Carlos, can you please introduce the topic of the show today? Let's get this going.
Sure. I'll be glad to, Tulio. We are going to be talking about erasing borders in corporate travel, or in other words, modernizing cross-border mobility with technology to promote the freer movement of people, ideas, and innovation. So this is what our guests chose for today's topic. So Erin, quick question. Why did you choose this particular topic? Why did you think it's important for people to know?
Yeah, so everyone here at Visa HQ is very passionate about global mobility. And that's the reason that we chose this topic. We at Visa HQ really think that the passport and visa industry is wildly outdated. For so long, there hasn't been any change. People are still processing visas and passports the way things have been done forever. So we're here to innovate in that industry, bring technology to it to streamline this process. Right now, in general, we find that a lot of people are viewing passports and visas really as a chore or a pain that kind of needs to be checked off a list. And we don't think that's the right way to look at it. We think that we should have a bigger view because, especially in corporate travel, these travelers, they are on holiday. While that is lovely, these are, tech giants. These are Fortune 500 companies who are really influencing our world. They're going over to these countries to, business meetings, conferences. We work with a lot of nonprofits, universities across the industry. So it's larger than just, filling out a form, filling out a piece of paper, checking off something on their list. To streamline this process is really crucial for the future of travel. And I think as companies become more global, they realize that this is a priority, that modernizing this process is crucial to their growth and company.
So I'm curious, Erin, what are some of the things your company's done to modernize that process? Give us the highlights.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine in the visa world, there's almost an infinite combination of where you reside, what your nationality is, and where you're going. The visa requirements for that, as I mentioned, are infinite. So imagine all those requirements right now are just, you're almost lost. Where do you start? So one of the things that Visa HQ has done is taken all of these requirements and we've added them to our global online knowledge base. Many of our travelers experience an automated visa email alerting them of personal visa requirements for a trip that they just booked based on their nationality, where they reside and where they're going. They're able to easily access information on Visa HQ. And now imagine all these different forms. Maybe you have experienced some of them yourselves. Maybe you're looking at a form that's half in Mandarin, half in English. You're wondering, oh, if I leave this box blank, will the embassy reject it? With Visa HQ, we've taken all these forms worldwide, and you're just answering easy questions on an online interface. It's really clean and easy to understand, asking questions like, what's your mother's maiden name? And then if you can imagine even further, imagine technology that actually saves this information to a traveler profile for you. So, like another website, you have this traveler information saved. So if you had, gone to China before, now you're going to India 6 months down the road, you've already answered a lot of these similar questions. So they actually get pre-populated for you. It almost becomes a one-click visa. And then that form gets automatically created for you. And then, in general, we're always asking what can be done to make this process easier for the traveler, to remove those barriers, remove those pain points. So things like offering an online chat, you can hop on an online chat and chat with a visa expert, while you continue to work, offering a digital photo upload with your smartphone right there on Visa HQ. That's huge. I mean, a lot of our travelers are still going to the post office or, going out to get a photo taken. That's a huge waste of time, especially for these large organizations that really put a lot of value on their employees' time. So that's kind of some of the highlights of, how we've streamlined and modernized this process.
I think this idea of convenience and streamline is great, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I tend to be a control freak. And I'm sure this is a question that comes up a lot, obviously, even with the government entities, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Where does security come into play? It sounds nice, it's convenient, it's streamlined, but how do you maintain security in such a delicate matter?
Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine by the nature of our business, data security is extremely important to us. We're handling people's personal data on a regular basis. So we are regularly audited by third parties in the industry. Many of our partners do security audits with us, and even clients that we work with as well. We perform regular security penetration tests. And we are GDPR compliant worldwide. Maybe, as you know, in the EU, this is an important regulation. So Visa HQ is very vigilant in that area because of the industry we're in.
So I'm curious to find out which country are the most difficult to get into, and how much planning do you have to do to get into them?
Yeah,
you get
sure.
asked that question a lot?
So I wouldn't say, I wouldn't like to say it, not one country is more difficult than others. But certainly our most common visas for corporate travelers would include China is a common one, India is a common one, and we see Russia as well, just to name top three. Certainly there are more, but China and India especially are huge for our corporate clients. A lot of our clients have maybe offices there or a growing business in that area. I mean, they're big powerhouses in the world economy.
Erin, I'd like to ask you a question real quick. About 20 years ago, I was recipient of an H-1B visa for programs in Arizona. And back then the process was very, how can I say this? Very streamlined. It was really, you get all this, you hear all this talk about how difficult it is, blah, blah, blah. But because I was petitioned by this institution, it's very, not easy, but it was very seamless, very streamlined, very, I experienced no hassle at all, other than the meantime. So, but, in 20 years, things have obviously changed a lot.
Yeah.
So in that sense, from your perspective, what do you think is the most, and I'm referring specifically visas into the U.S., people either in Mexico or similar countries, Latin America. What would you say would be the most challenging part for, because of these rapid changes, and also I need to mention this, or I feel compelled to mention this. There's a political element in your political views in why visas should be granted or not. So what is the most challenging aspect in order to keep abreast of your industry and in your platform?
Yeah, that's a great point. And at Visa HQ, I'm talking a lot about technology because it is at the forefront of our mission to innovate and make things easier for the traveler. But at Visa HQ, we have the other side of the coin, which is people and expertise, right? So we know that for technology to work its best, that it needs to be backed by these people and expertise. So we've been in the industry for over 15 years. So that's relationships with embassies. That's experience that our team has in the industry. And that's, hard to replace. So we have seen, others out there try to, use the technology that we've come up with or create it their own, but they aren't able to maintain it because, as you mentioned, visas are very political and they change at the drop of a hat. So being able to maintain and stay on top of those changes, requires our team around the world to be able to update, our global knowledge base and as well as keep travelers abreast of any changes. So that's a great point. And it does, I think, bring a point to technology in general. I think companies can probably relate to this. Around the world, that I think moving forward, the companies that will be most successful will be finding this balance between technology and people, and bringing those two to move forward. And that's something at Visa HQ that we've really worked on to find that balance because it is very applicable in this situation.
Okay, so real quick, just want to quickly recap. So you are selfie generation proof. I love that, right? No need to go to the post office or wherever you get the little pictures taken care of it, you upload it. And you are personalization focused, right? So remembering who I am, not have to repeat myself over and over. So when are you guys going to offer the service for the DMV?
Oh, the DMV, yeah. Well, that's a great metaphor for the visa process, right? Outdated, painful, annoying. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm curious, Aaron, to learn, what's it like when we'd love to hear stories, right? So any interesting stories of someone who got a visa, ended up in a country, got in trouble? Do you guys assist with that kind of thing? Please share some fun stories, some that we want to hear them for sure.
Fun or not fun?
Yes.
It's not fun when it happened while it was happening, but it's fun to talk about them afterwards. So I'm just curious, and what role do you guys play when that happens? Someone gets they're in another country, they're in trouble, something goes wrong. What happens? Do you guys play any role in supporting them? How does that work? Any stories around that?
Oh, absolutely. So Visa HQ, we actually have the highest visa acceptance rate in the industry. We're at a 99.91% success rate, which is extremely high. And before I tell all these crazy stories, I will just talk about that because it's that combination again of that technology which automates everything, and then having those people, double check for typos, things like that human elements. But because our success rate is so high, a lot of the stories I hear, sadly, are from travel managers who come to me. Something's happened, right, at their company. The CEO, something's happened to the CEO. They had a big conference, or something bad has happened, right? So they unfortunately are kind of awoken to this idea that, wow, we actually need to have a process in place. We need to streamline this. This needs to be part of our duty of care. This needs to be part of our travel program in general. Maybe I need more visibility. That's something Visa HQ offers that when it's just kind of left open, travel managers don't have. So I hear a lot of these stories when they, initially kind of come to me to talk about, well, what are the benefits? So unfortunately, not to give, any details or anything like that, too many personal details, but we get people all the time who are detained, or held up at borders. I heard a story just recently where a traveler was able to get on the flight, but they got held up at the border. So they had to, reroute their flight to somewhere else. They had to rebook the hotel. All these costs start adding up. The travel manager told me at the end it ended up being a $10,000 error because of all these flights and all these things that had to change. And that's not counting, this traveler wasn't going on vacation. They were going for a business meeting. So that's lost opportunity. It makes the company look bad, right? You're missing this meeting. So there's that reputation angle too. But the most important thing for me too is the stress on the traveler. They really talked about that, the emotional stress of dealing with that. I just spoke with someone who said that their traveler was held up for 2 hours and questioned. They said the emotional toll on that traveler was huge. And that's why I sometimes say that visas can almost fall under duty of care, right? Because that is that emotional side of the traveler. We talk about, hard cost savings, that I've mentioned now, like flights and things like that. Even small ones, like having a visa returned, right? And then having to resubmit it. You've just basically essentially doubled the cost of that visa, right? Because you have to pay for it twice. And those are small, but those large costs, like flights and canceled meetings and things like that, are huge. But that emotional side as well, that stress on the traveler.
So what I'm understanding, or what I understand, is a lot of your stories are people coming to you in a reactive way, like, oh no, this has happened, so I guess I need your services. Versus the proactive of like, hey, I would like to prevent this from happening. Let's work together. So what types of things do you recommend, or what is Visa HQ doing to help shift your clients to that more proactive rather than reactive shift? Like and how might other companies emulate that same sort of approach or marketing technique? Like we are relevant, right? And not only when you need us or only, beforehand.
Yeah. So, we work with a lot of our industry partners, TMCs, things like that. And the account managers, I partner with a lot of account managers within that to talk to their clients to be able to bring attention to this before one of those emergencies happens, right? Because you don't want to be coming to Visa HQ at a time when, like you said, your CEO got held up and questioned, on the way to a business trip, it was a horrible experience and now they're upset with your travel program. That's an experience everyone wants to avoid. We want to avoid that, right? So we really work with our industry partners to be proactive. That's something Visa HQ really focuses on. An example of that is proactive visa email alerts. You can enable those with many of our partners, right? So your travelers know in advance when they book a flight, wherever it is international, they'll get their documents, required documents emailed to them, so they know exactly what they need. We have reminders with passports too, like that it needs to be within 6 months of expiration date, 2 blank pages, things like that. That's really easy to forget and can completely derail a trip. So we're really focused on being proactive that way, talking to travel managers in advance, and there's a lot of changes coming down the pipeline. I know in the EU, they'll be they'll be requiring the ETIAS in 2011. So it's important to kind of get these things in place now because things change at the drop of a hat and you don't want to be reactive, like you said.
So, Erin, something's come up for me that I want to ask. Historically, at least from my own experience, every time I've gotten a visa internationally, it's been tied to a trip that's coming up, right? And I've often asked myself, it'd be so nice to actually have profiles of individuals that are expected to travel pre-set up. Is that possible today, where a company can come and say, these 100 people, 200 people, however number apply, they're going to be traveling to the following countries. We don't know when it's going to happen, but it's likely to happen over the next 2 years. Or is that possible to proactively set up visas well in advance before you even have a travel booked, so that these individuals could have a lot more freedom to do, let's say, last minute travel, for example, which is impossible to do in most cases. I had to go to Russia last year, and I needed to be there in 3 weeks. And they were like, no, we need 6 weeks to get you a visa. And it came the day before I got on the plane. It was very stressful to do it that way. And I'm like, there's got to be a way to plan for this in advance. Does that exist? Is there a direction moving? Is it a direction that countries are moving towards? Is this something you guys facilitate?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And it really is going to depend on the country, right? It's going to depend on your nationality and where you potentially want to go. And, I certainly have learned a lot from working in this job, but I don't pretend to be a visa expert myself. So it's really going to kind of depend on those details. However, yes, that's absolutely something you can do if it's allowed by the country and your nationality. And what we really encourage travelers to do, or travel arrangers or travel managers within the company, is use Visa HQ as a strategic resource. We know that you don't want to be a visa expert. Visas are wildly complex and changing it all the time. We're here to be the experts for you. So what we do with all of our clients is we create a personalized global URL with their company logo. So it's really personalized to the company. And that is your sort of one-stop shop for all of your visa questions. So in this case, yes, if a travel manager knows that, hey, we're going to have a conference in India, sometime within the year, we don't know when, they can use Visa HQ, go online, look at the requirements, sort of start to prep. We also have account managers, again, talking about the technology people aspect, who work directly with our clients. So with something like this, they could reach out to us and say, hey, yeah, we do have sort of some power travelers who are probably going to be going to these locations. Can I proactively prepare for this? What can I do? That's a great, personalized human element, or again, like we have a conference coming up. Here are all the nationalities. Here's where everyone's coming from. I just want to get an idea so that we can, work together to make this go smoothly. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we're all about being proactive. Anything we can do to streamline the process and make it easier, that is what we are about.
I wanted to get back to your tagline. You have this question of modernizing cross-border mobility with technology. Yeah. And you say to promote the freer movement of people, which makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah. That's tangible. But you also tacked on there the freer movement of ideas and the freer movement of innovation. So could you touch on what you mean by that? Elaborate a bit more of what travel means to ideas, what travel means to innovation?
Yeah. So it really comes back to the types of clients that we work with. We work with clients across every industry, which is part of what makes my job so interesting. I'm talking with travel managers literally in every industry because everyone travels, and their ideas are being spread around the world. I mean, that's in corporate travel. Again, as I mentioned, this isn't usually vacation travel, right? And we do offer that as well, but specifically focusing on corporate travel. These are travelers that are going over there to speak about innovation, to meet with, future clients. I mean, they're shaping the world. I mean, we work with, tech giants, Fortune 500 companies, across every industry, nonprofits, spreading their mission around the world. So it's not just about the people, right? Of course, we're moving those people from country to country, but it's bigger than the people alone. And that's something we really feel passionately about.
Right. And I think that's a really beautiful message, especially I find it interesting that if I did my homework correctly, Visa HQ was established in 2003, right? Yes. Which is 2 years, less than 2 years, I guess, after the September 11th attacks, which of course I'm sure created this huge, I would imagine, I was very young and in college, but I imagine there being this huge impact on things like visas. And we have this ebb and this flow that's constantly happening right now. Right now, what's happening is this concern of illegal immigration, which is really one of those hot topics. And so I think it's beautiful in the sense that, in a way, I mean, borders are necessary, right? Each country has its independence and its ability to self-manage. But it's this beautiful essence of this erasing it, because things like ideas and innovation, right, are worth spreading.
Absolutely. No, I mean, you said that perfectly. And it is part of our mission, right? Everyone here at Visa HQ is an avid traveler themselves, right? We have offices all over the world. We're a very global company. So we know firsthand what that is like. We understand the challenges. We understand, what we would like to see as travelers. And we're always listening to our clients too, working with them to improve. Because we've been around for over 15 years and we've innovated in the space, but innovation doesn't stop today. We're not just done innovating, right? I mean, this is going to be forever. We work with a lot of companies who want to future-proof their travel program. Because we have this history of innovation, they know that working with us, they'll get continued innovation. It's just part of our company culture.
Erin, we're kind of coming up on time. Any 2-3 tips you'd like to leave? Some of our audience members are actually people in HR and C-level executives of multinationals. Any words of advice or things that they should think about in order to improve their employees' effectiveness to travel internationally? Just some basic things that they should be doing to prepare themselves better. If you'd like to share those with us and our audience, that'd be great as we wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and we've touched upon this a little bit, but be proactive, right? You don't want to be thinking about visas after a reactive, terrible situation. You want to have a visa program in place. And remember that visas are serious. They're a small part of travel, but they are a crucial part of travel. You cannot get in that country without proper documentation. So it's important to take these seriously. Get a program in place, get a process in place, and work with a company who fits with your company culture. Maybe is focused on innovation and offers visibility into your travel program so that you can see how it's being managed and manage it from above.
Great. Thanks for being with us, Erin. Appreciate you. Congratulations, you were our 200th interview today. It's not really an interview.
I know,
it's
so
more like
fun.
a fireside chat. So thanks for joining us. Carlos, what do we got coming up next week?
Well, next week, Tulio, I would like to focus not on the next week, but also on the next couple of weeks. First, number one is because next week's guest, I don't have the topic yet. He's in Germany. So due to time zone changes, we haven't really converged. But I don't have the topic yet. But he is good. I can tell you who he is, and then I'll move on to the next one, which is the interesting one. He's next week we're gonna be speaking with Kevin Chandrasekaran, the research and development engineer at BMW. Again, I don't have the topic, but the next week, the week after, we're gonna have your boy Tulio. We're gonna have Alex Eisman, and we're gonna be speaking about AI and software and exploring the limits. Could it cure? Could it cure cancer? That kind of thing. So that's gonna be controversial and interesting. And again, these two conversations are gonna be happening. Like today, it's going to be on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, right here on Dojo Live. So, folks, if you're watching, stay tuned for all the interesting topics that we're going to be elaborating on right here on Dojo Live. And with that being said, back to you for wrap up, Tulio and Kim.
Yeah, see, Erin, we've already solved the visa problem here on Dojo Live. We just use the technology. People can connect real time on video from all over the world.
We do that
for those who have watched, if you want to participate on the wrap-up show, the recap show on Monday, 1 p.m. Pacific, we're going to recap this show and talk about what we've learned. So if you're an audience member and you want to be one of the squares right here on Dojo Live participating, we want to make that possible for you. So just let any of the hosts know. You can DM me, DM Carlos or Kim, anyone here, or just put it right on the comments section of where you're watching this saying, I want to participate, and we'd love to have you. Thanks for joining us today, and to another 200 shows.
Yeah.
200.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Erin. And see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you.